What's up, awesome YouTubers? Rhine1988 or Justin back here to do a video for you guys, and this is going to be the start to my October videos entitled Rhine1988's Halloween Top 5's, where every Friday I will be doing a different top 5, talking about different categories and some of my top 5 favorite movies in these different categories. If that makes sense. Each week, like I said, I'll have a top 5 up every Friday during the month of October. And if you guys like these top 5s, let me know and I will do these every year. I used to do horror movie reviews every day in the month of October, but I haven't done that in a couple years just because I've been super busy at the moment. The last 2 years I've been really busy. So I haven't been able to do reviews every day in October, but I do want to do something fun every October starting this year, and I will be doing these top 5s. So if you guys like this month of October with these top 5s, let me know and I will do these every year. So starting off this week is going to be my top 5 favorite Stephen King movies, and this list might change. It will definitely change in years to come. But right now, these are my 5 favorite Stephen King movies at the moment. I have mixed these up. I will talk about my number 1 favorite when I do mention it. But starting off this list is going to be Christine from John Carpenter. Absolutely love Christine. It's a killer car movie. That's all you really need to know about the film if you haven't seen it yet. But there's more to it. It is one of the best killer car movies and one of Stephen King's best movie adaptations. I love the film. I think this is somewhat underrated. You know, people do talk about it. Some people love it and some people don't. I love the film. I think it is a great movie. It is one of Carpenter's best movies, and it's one of the best horror movies ever made, in my opinion. Like I said, it's a killer car movie, so you don't need to know too much. But basically, it surrounds a kid named Arnie who buys the car, Christine, and once he buys her, you know, they really become one in some way. Christine becomes, I'd say in some ways very possessive over him, and she will kill anybody that hurts Arnie. So that is the idea behind the film. I love this movie, like I said. I think it's just a well-made movie. Very creepy at times. The music in it is awesome, like any John Carpenter film's music. I love the music in any of his movies. The cast is great. The acting's actually well made overall. Great acting. And I love Christine. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out. I highly recommend this one. They re-released it on Blu-ray, I think today. I think it's today or last week. So if you have not gotten this yet on Blu-ray, definitely pick up the new release. This is the out-of-print Twilight Times release that I got when it first came out. So, but I love Christine. The next one is going to be Pet Sematary, Mary Lambert's Pet Sematary. And the quick plot synopsis of this movie surrounds the Creed family moving into this new house, this new town. And when they move there, their young son, Gage, winds up being hit by a semi-truck and dying. And once that happens, Louis Creed kind of goes he goes insane. And he wants to bring his son back to life. And he does this by taking him to the pet cemetery. And what the pet cemetery is it's a place where if you bury the dead there, it comes back. And his son comes back, but it's not the son that he had before. It is an evil version of his son, basically. So, Pet Sematary, if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out. I love the film. It is one of my favorite horror movies and one of my favorite Stephen King films. It's one of the rare horror movies to creep me out today, and every time I watch it, it creeps me out. And it's not just the Zelda scenes, she terrifies me, I can't stand her, but just the overall movie's creepy. The idea of this small child dying is creepy, and it's very sad. You feel the dad's pain, you feel the family's pain, and I love the film. I think this is one of the best movies ever made, and one of the best horror movies, and if you haven't seen Pet Sematary yet, definitely check it out. The next one, and I don't really need to talk about the plot with this, because I'm pretty sure everybody has seen this. If you haven't yet, definitely check it out though. and it's Stephen King's The Shining and Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. This is one of the rare Stephen King movies that Stephen King actually does not like, and it's due to the fact that when Stanley Kubrick made this movie, he took the basic idea of The Shining, but made it his own, and Stephen King didn't like that, so he really disowns this film. But it's a classic movie that a lot of people have seen, and if you haven't seen it, you know certain things about this movie. Screenshots, a scene that, you know, takes place with this cover. It's just one of those movies that even if you haven't seen it, you know about the movie. But The Shining is definitely one of my favorite ones. The next one is going to be my favorite all-time Stephen King movie, and that is the original Carrie. And like The Shining, I'm not really going to go into the plot because even if you haven't seen this version, I'm pretty sure you've seen one of the Carrie versions that's been made. Especially, probably, if you haven't seen this movie, you probably have seen the Chloe Moretz version that came out a couple years ago. But Carrie, the original, is my favorite Carrie. It's one of my favorite horror films. It's in my top 30, top 20 favorite horror movies. It's a hard list to make, but I still love the movie. But it is my favorite Stephen King movie. I love Carrie. This movie never gets old for me. I've seen this movie plenty of times. I saw it for the first time on an old VHS that I used to have, and I used to rewind the prom scene over and over because that scene is the best scene in the movie, or one of the best scenes. Just the way it was directed with the two screenshots back to back, the way that the music was building up to Carrie getting the pig's blood poured on her head. I love that scene. I love the whole prom scene. And Sissy Spacek does an amazing job as Carrie. I just love her, and I love this movie. So if you haven't seen Carrie yet, definitely check this one out. But like I said, I'm pretty sure you've seen it. And then my last one that I'm going to talk about is probably one of the most underrated Stephen King movie adaptations, if not the most underrated one, and that is Sometimes They Come Back. Now, I know there's a lot of great Stephen King movies out there, like It, another underrated one, Silver Bullet, which I almost put on this list. I love that film. Cujo being a great movie. There's a lot of great ones out there. But this is one of my personal favorites, and I love the film. The idea behind this movie and the plot is, real quickly, surrounds a guy named Jim who returns to his childhood home after getting a teaching job there, and he brings his family with him. But this childhood home really has a dark past to him. His brother, when they were kids, was killed by a group of gang members, high school gang members. And Jim basically witnessed this accident, witnessed his brother being killed, and witnessed these group of gang members being hit by a train. And so he moves back, it's the present day, he moves back to this town, like I said, to teach, and once he moves back there, teenagers in the high school are slowly killed off, and taking their place are the ghosts of these teenage gang members. And they want revenge on Jim and his family, and they will kill anybody to get to him, and that's basically the plot of the film. I love Sometimes They Come Back. I think this is, like I said, a very underrated Stephen King movie, if not the most underrated one. And it's directed by Tom McLoughlin, and you probably heard of that name from Friday the 13th Part 6. That is his most well-made or most known movie. It's my favorite one from him, but I love this film, and I love his other obscure 80s horror movie called One Dark Night, which is another great movie from him. But Sometimes They Come Back. If you haven't checked it out yet, please go do so. I'd say if you can get a hold of it this October, watch it. I've watched it already. I love the film. I think it's great. And I look forward to watching this movie many, many more times to come over the years. Now, if you can't get a hold of the DVD, it is out of print. I got this rarely cheap a few months ago. They are coming out with the Blu-ray, which I knew they would, after I got this DVD. But I'll be sticking to the DVD. I don't think there's anything new with bonus features or whatnot. But if you don't have this movie yet, please pick it up this month in October on Blu-ray and watch this movie. So, But that is going to be my top 5 for this Friday, my top 5 favorite Stephen King movies. And next Friday, I will be continuing on with these October videos, talking about my top 5 70s somewhat obscure horror movies. There's going to be movies on that list that you guys probably have seen, some that are more well-known than others, and if you haven't seen these movies, you've heard of them probably. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you back next week for my next top 5 Rhine1988's Halloween top 5s. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what your top 5 favorite Stephen King movies are, and if you don't have a top 5, let me know your favorites anyway. But anyway, guys, I'm going to let you go. As always, you guys are awesome. You guys rock. In with positive, out with the negative. And go eat some Skittles. Alright, guys. Bye.